Hi, welcome to ADI Technical Training. Today we're going to be talking about port forwarding. Some of you may be familiar with this slide that you've seen before. If you've done any of our technical training, we talk about using your mobile phone app to connect to a peer-to-peer service on the internet, and the DVR is connected also to the same peer-to-peer service. But we're going to be talking about the more traditional port forwarding and how to set it up. We've got ourselves a DVR from Dahua that's going to be connected to our local network and then our internet. But you could easily just as well do it with one of the NVRs. They're also obviously network connected. But first thing I'm going to do is get into the web pages of the NVR. We need to enter our admin username and password and click login. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over and check some of the network settings for you. We'll be discussing port numbers shortly, so if you don't know what they are, there's a menu here called port within the network settings, and you'll soon see that the port that we're interested in is the TCP port, which is 37777. There are some other obvious ports like port 80 for the web page, and you can change if you really need to, but it's not kind of recommended. But let's get back to the networking section. The peer-to-peer service is where you'd normally do it. You'd make sure that would be enabled, and you'd make sure that the status was online, and then you can scan the QR code. I've got it on my local network. I've actually set up a static IP address for this recorder, but you can quite easily set up a DHCP address. But it's easier when you're doing port forwarding to set up the static IP address. So what I need to do now, I need to first go and sign up with the Dynamic DNS. You need to create yourself an account username and password and give it a host name. So I'm using noip.com. It's a free service on the internet, and I've already created myself an account, but you can get a free one. And immediately I'm prompted to give it a host name and a domain. And the domain is the variable bit on the end. So let's just go and pick a nice and easy one we can remember. How about dvrcam.info, okay? And now I need to give it my host, and I'm just going to be nice and simple, and I'm going to call it my XVR. And if I click add host name, I've got a nice new host name of myxvr.dvrcam.info, and that's now mine to use on in the rest of the setup. So what do we do now? I want to get the command prompt up, and I want to just check a few things. I want to check that we know where our gateway is, and the easiest way to do it is to get the command prompt up, type in ipconfig, and you'll see we have a gateway address there, default gateway of 192.168.1.254. So I use that on a browser, pop it in. Some of you may have to log in or not, but effectively I've got to get admin control of this. So you may have to enter your admin passwords. And I'm going to try and find the Dynamic DNS section, and mine's over here, and there's a Dynamic DNS. I will have to turn it on if it's the first time I've used it. I've already gone and set it up, and I put in my username, my password, and my new host name, which is the full length host name on there. Just got to click save on there, and it's saving, it's changing, and the service status, if I've got it all right, it'll change to connected. So that means that the router, your gateway, is now connected to the DDNS service on the internet. Right, next thing I need to do is go and add some port forwarding. So you'll find a section on your router. I've already put one in before to gain access to the web pages of the XVR, but now I'm going to use it, so I want the mobile phone to gain access. So I'm going to create a new rule. I'm just going to give it an old random name. It doesn't really matter what it is. I'm just going to call it P2P XVR. You could call it what you like. And I could select the address from the list, but I know what the IP address is. I've set it manually of the recorder, and mine's 192.168.1.20. And there we go. We'll just set it in place. And we need to put the port number in. If we're using Dahua, their application port is 37777, and that's the one I want to port forward. And I want to start and the end to be exactly the same. I need to select a protocol. TCP being the protocol of use, and that's the one we want to do. I just need to add it as a service, and of course I'm going to have to go and save that on the web page. So now you'll see, well, as soon as it saved it, that it's created two nice new rules. One of them is going to be port forward directly to my static IP address if I use that port number. Right, so I can now go and get out of the hub router. And if you want to know where to get the Dahua tool kit, it's on support.dahuasecurity.com. And there's a tool section, or you can always search for it. It is a desktop tool. And what I'm after is the config tool. So I could download that from here. It's also part of the general toolbox as well, but the config tool is a standalone item. The config tool is really just a network scanner. It finds the IP address of my recorder, which I could launch the web page from here. But I need the mobile phone app. And from here, I'm going to click Add, which is a little plus at the top. I'm going to select IP domain from the list. I'm going to pick my type, which is an XVR or a DVR. And now I need to add in the address. If I had a static IP address on the internet, I could use it. But we've gone and created a nice new host name from the previous tutorial earlier on, which is actually my xvr.dvrcam.info, if you remember. There is a port number. This is the default port number. You could change it, and this is the same one we used in the port forwarding rules. I need to give it a name. I'm just going to call it my XVR. And now I've got to enter in the username and password for the recorder. And all that's left, if we've done it all correctly, is just to press save. And if everything's in order, we should get some live images up using our mobile phone. And there we have it. Some nice live images. Excellent. I hope that helps. If you're interested in some of the services we offer here at ADI, why not nip over to the website? There's a services tab, and if you scroll down there, you'll see some of the project support services that we offer, including some site surveys, some commissioning, maybe a bit of troubleshooting. Pre-build configuration is quite good for pre-configuring your NVRs and your cameras, so you can just get them pre-built, sent to site. We also offer a fair bit of training, so if that interests you, have a look on the training calendar, which is over here, and you'll see there's a full list of services there as well. I really hope that helps. Catch you later.